Okay, we are back with the last item on the agenda, which is a continuation of a discussion from the August 2016 Commission meeting on the risk-informed assessment of CANDU safety issues. This is outlined in CMD 17M12 and M12.A. We also, joining us here, Mr. Tolgiesi and Ms. Velshi, as they were also present at the August meeting, and they are joining us here to pursue this discussion. Mark?
Yes, I've got a few contextual comments or remarks. So as the President indicated, this is the continuation of a Commission meeting item first presented in August 2016. The Commission determined that this item should be continued so that CNSC staff could present a table dealing with all 74 CANDU safety issues, and that a more fulsome discussion could take place at a later date, that is today, to address matters raised by the three interveners who also participated in August. In this regard, the Commission members will refer to documents filed both for the August 2016 and the March 2017 proceedings. The objective of this item is not to close CSIs, as these will always remain in one of the three categories. It is more an assessment of progress being made on the consideration of these issues, including the recategorization of CSIs towards other or lesser categories, that is either Category 1, where it is no longer an issue because it has been satisfactorily addressed, or Category 2, where appropriate controls are in place to maintain safety margins. And this as a result of developments in the research and understanding of these issues. A question period, for which no time limit has been ascribed, will follow the presentations, first by CNSC staff, followed by Dr. Greening, then Dr. Nijawan, and the consideration of Dr. Duguay's submission, who will not be joining us today. A notice was issued to invite the three interveners who participated in the August meeting. Dr. Greening and Dr. Nijawan, as I indicated earlier, will present verbally, and Dr. Duguay filed his written submission. And all of these will be considered in a single question period that will follow all presentation. Mr. President.
Merci, Mark. First, let me check to see if Dr. Nijawan, are you online? Can you hear us?
Welcome, sir. Welcome back, sir. Yes, I'm here, sir.
Thank you. So I will turn now to CNSC staff for their presentation. Mr. Frappier, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the Commission. For the record, my name is Jerry Frappier, and I'm the Director General of the Directorate of Power Reactor Regulations. Staff are here to present further information on the risk-informed assessment of CANDU safety issues to the Commission. With me today are Dr. David Newland, Director General of the Directorate of Assessment and Analysis, and Dr. Doug Miller, Lead Technical Advisor for the Directorate of Major Project Management and Regulatory Improvements, as well as technical staff that will be available for questions. In the August 2016 public meeting of the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, CNSC staff presented a technical briefing, Commission Member Document 16M34, entitled Risk-Informed Assessment of CANDU Safety Issues. CMD 16M34 described the approach taken to assess the current status of design and analysis of safety improvements initiatives and research for Canadian CANDU reactors, and to develop a path forward for their timely implementation. After deliberations, the Commission decided to continue the discussion on the status of CANDU safety issues that was started in August 2016 Commission meeting, as there was limited time to disposition interveners' comments on the CANDU safety issues. CMD 17M12, which is before you today, continuation of Commission meeting item risk-informed assessment of CANDU safety issues, was published in December 2016, and it provides dispositioning of interveners' comments and information on the recategorization of CANDU safety issues. I'd like to give a little bit of background, but first, to be clear, nuclear reactors operating in Canada meet regulatory requirements, and licensees are qualified and are making adequate provisions to operate the reactors. Safety cases for currently operating reactors fully apply the defense in depth framework and have appropriately conservative safety margins. But a healthy safety culture of a nuclear regulator includes having a questioning attitude, looking for opportunities to continuously improve safety and increase regulatory knowledge. Ongoing regulatory research and taking operating experience into account are key aspects of continuous safety improvement and increasing our regulatory knowledge. The risk-informed assessment of CANDU safety issues focuses on the activities undertaken to confirm the adequacy of safety margins, increase regulatory knowledge, and enhance the safety of CANDU reactors. In 2007, CNSC staff were the main contributors in the development of an IEA technical document on generic safety issues for nuclear power plants with pressurized heavy water reactors. An initial list of technical issues was developed using the IEA technical document. We have consolidated the safety issues in the technical document with the CNSC's previous generic action items, which include findings from ongoing nuclear safety research and experience feedback from regulatory oversights of currently operating reactors in Canada and worldwide. Collectively, these technical issues are referred to as CANDU safety issues. As discussed, ongoing regulatory research and taking operating experience into account are key aspects of continuous safety improvement and increasing regulatory knowledge. While the CNSC staff have reported on these initiatives in regulatory oversight reports over the years and during license renewals, CMD's 16M34 and today's 17M12 consolidates the CNSC staff reviews. This presentation describes the current status of these CANDU safety issues and addresses feedback from interveners. As a reminder, the initial list of CANDU safety issues were assessed as follows. CNSC experts first considered whether the item was addressed in the design of Canadian CANDU reactors, whether licensees have matured safety and control measures in place, whether licensees have made design upgrades. If one or more of these criteria were met, the item was determined not to be an issue in Canada. These items are referred to as Category 1 CANDU safety issues. Next, we considered whether existing measures need additional confirmation or if improved knowledge or understanding was needed to confirm the adequacy of safety margins. If the answer was no, it was determined that the licensees have appropriate control measures in place to address the issue and to maintain safety margins. These are referred to as Category 2 safety issues. An issue was categorized as Category 3 CANDU safety issue if further experiments and/or analysis are required to improve knowledge and understanding of the issue or to confirm the adequacy of safety margins. In this case, the CNSC's risk-informed decision-making process was applied to develop the path forward, i.e. the risk control measures for issue resolution. The CNSC will reconfirm the adequacy of safety margins and monitor licensees' management of the issues to ensure its timely and effective resolution. So to summarize, Category 1 issues are not an issue in Canada. A CANDU safety issue is determined to be Category 1 issue if the issue is addressed in the design of CANDU reactors, licensees have matured safety and control measures in place, or licensees have made design upgrades. Category 1 items are subject to ongoing regulatory oversight. If information should come to light regarding Category 1 CSI, the CSI will be revisited and CNSC staff will determine if regulatory actions are needed. Category 2 items, the issue is a potential concern in Canada. However, the licensees have appropriate control measures in place to address the issue and to maintain safety margins. Category 2 safety issues are subject to ongoing inspection and desktop reviews. In addition, confirmatory research and development and analysis may be needed for some Category 2 CANDU safety issues. The CNSC monitors licensees' management of and progress towards resolution of these issues. Category 3 items, the issues is a concern in Canada. However, the licensees have control measures in place to maintain safety margins, but further experiments and/or analysis are required to improve knowledge and understanding of the issue and to confirm the adequacy of safety margins. The CNSC will reconfirm the adequacy of the safety margins and continue to monitor licensees' management of the issues to ensure its timely and effective resolution. Category 3 items require more focused regulatory oversight. So for Category 1 and Category 2 issues, the uncertainties in the safety case are well understood and covered by an appropriate level of conservatism imposed by the CNSC. However, industry may still be doing further research on some Category 2 issues to be able to reduce regulatory conservatism in the safety case or for operational reasons. So what are the status of CANDU safety issues today? In 2007, when this work started, there were 24 Category 1 issues, 29 Category 2, and 21 Category 3 issues. Overall, through industry's efforts in addressing the Category 3 CANDU safety issues and the CNSC's effort in assessing submissions, there are now 25 Category 1 issues, 45 Category 2 issues, and only 4 Category 3 issues. Note that one Category 1 CANDU safety issue on fuel cladding corrosion was moved to Category 2, and we will discuss this shortly. The recategorization process includes the following steps. A licensee will provide their submission stating the request for recategorization and including supporting documentation. The CNSC staff then review the submission and evaluate the recategorization request in view of the measures to be taken for that CANDU safety issue. After it has been verified that the risk control measures have been implemented, the Category 3 CANDU safety issue is recategorized to 1 or 2. The definitions provided on the previous slide are used to determine if the CANDU safety issue should be moved to Category 1 or 2. It is also possible that if a new information arises, as was mentioned, the item may be recategorized upwards. So that's also a possibility and has occurred. During the 5th review meeting for the Convention on Nuclear Safety in 2011, there was a peer review of the application of the CNSC's risk-informed decision-making process to develop the path forward for resolution of the most significant CANDU safety issues. The process and its applications were accepted, and as such, the peer review under the Nuclear Safety Convention endorsed the CNSC's risk-informed categorization of CANDU safety issues. The process and its applications were accepted by the international community. There were three, coming now to the feedback on CMD 16M34, there were 3 interventions on CMD 16M34. Overall, the interveners questioned the basis for the initial categorization and recategorization of the CANDU safety issue. Detailed comments were provided regarding total loss of alternating current power, fire protection, fuel channels, hydrogen control, primary heat transport system relief capability, emergency core cooling strainers, and others. These comments will be discussed later in this presentation. CMC staff emphasizes that rigorous processes for the initial categorization and subsequent recategorizations were followed at all times. The basis for the initial categorization was documented in the CNSC report, Development of Regulatory Positions on CANDU Safety Issues, Categorizations of Safety Issues, which was published in 2007. The process followed for recategorization is as we have described earlier. CNSC staff applied their in-depth science and engineering expertise in the assessment of licensees' submissions. Independent technical panels in key areas were also established to support assessment of the licensees' submissions. In addition to addressing technical points raised by the interveners and providing the basis for recategorization of Category 3 CSIs, this presentation will provide information on the current status of the Category 1, 2, and 3 CANDU safety issues. I will now turn the presentation over to Dr. Miller.
Doug Miller, for the record. Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the Commission. I am Doug Miller, Lead Technical Advisor for the Directorate of Major Project Management and Regulatory Improvement. We will now discuss the basis for recategorization of the Category 3 CANDU safety issues. The following information was provided for each CANDU safety issue: a brief description of the issue, the measures developed to address the safety issue, and the basis for recategorization, including a summary of information submitted by licensees to support the request for recategorization, a summary of the staff assessment of the licensee's submission, including the decision on whether the Category 3 CANDU safety issue is recategorized to Category 1 or Category 2, and the ongoing work for Category 3 CANDU safety issues recategorized to Category 2. As part of this work, we note that the CANDU safety issues were recategorized based on one of or a combination of design, changes, analysis, research and development, or improvements in programs, processes, and procedures. The basis for recategorization of these CANDU safety issues was provided in Appendix A of CMD 17M12 and contained the information that I've just described. I'd like to point out that molten fuel moderator interaction, CANDU safety issue PF15, and emergency core cooling sump screen adequacy, SS1, have been recategorized from Category 3 to Category 1. The remainder of the CANDU safety issues listed on this and the next slide have been recategorized from Category 3 to Category 2. As mentioned, these items were recategorized based on the combination of design work, analysis, research and development, and improvements in programs, processes, and procedures. The letters beside each of them indicate the type of information supporting the recategorization. And we'd like to note that none of the CANDU safety issues were solely recategorized based on analysis. It's always a combination of tools that is used to provide the information to address the concern. We would like to take this opportunity to point out that with regards to CANDU safety issue PF18, fuel bundle element behavior under post-dryout conditions, CMD 17M12 states that the independent technical panel proposed a derived acceptance criteria of 600 degrees Celsius. To be clear, this did not portray the acceptance criteria accurately. A set of criteria addressing possible damage mechanisms to the fuel and fuel channel have been established through the industry work, and licensees must indicate what criteria they will use in their safety case. They do have flexibility in the criteria they propose, and it's up to them to make their case that it's suitable for their facility. There is also another item that we would like to note with regards to the documentation for CANDU safety issue AA3. So this is found in Appendix A of CMD 17M12, is that the CNSC assessment that's referenced was based on discussions held with industry up to 2012, and the industry submissions are in accordance with these discussions. We will now discuss the status of Category 1, 2, and 3 CANDU safety issues. CNSC staff reviewed the basis for the recategorization of Category 1 CANDU safety issues. The status was documented in Appendix D of CMD 16M34, Risk-Informed Assessment of CANDU safety issues. There are currently 25 Category 1 CANDU safety issues. As part of the meeting process, no comments were received on 18 of the Category 1 CANDU safety issues. The names of these items are listed in the appendices to this presentation. Comments were received from interveners on 7 Category 1 CANDU safety issues, and they're listed on this slide. Further detailed information on these issues is provided in the appendices to this presentation. Based on the CNSC review and consideration of feedback from interveners, no new issues have been identified regarding the Category 1 CANDU safety issues. CNSC staff conclude that Category 1 CANDU safety issues are categorized appropriately. It is important to note that if new information comes to light regarding a Category 1 CSI, the CSI will be revisited and CNSC staff will determine if regulatory actions are needed, and we do have the example that we'll get to. We will now turn our attention to the current status of the Category 2 safety issues. CNSC staff have reviewed the basis for recategorization of the categorization of Category 2 issues. The status was documented in Appendix E of CMD 16M34. There are currently 45 Category 2 issues. Through the process, no comments were received on 30 of the Category 2 issues. These are listed in the appendices to this presentation. Comments were received on 15 of the Category 2 issues. These are listed on this slide and the next. Further detailed information on these issues is provided in the appendices to this presentation. Please note that RC2 on fuel cladding, corrosion and fretting has been moved from Category 1 to Category 2. This was due to operating experience in the past few years related to an increase in deposits on fuel bundles in one reactor and excessive fuel bundle vibration being identified at another reactor. This is a case where an issue has been recategorized to a higher category based on new information. So slide 24 just presents the remainder of the 15 items. Based on the CNSC review, no new issues have been identified regarding the Category 2 CANDU safety issues. CNSC staff conclude that these Category 2 issues are categorized appropriately. And as for Category 1 items, it is important to note that if new information comes to light regarding a Category 2 CANDU safety issue, it will be revisited and CNSC staff will determine what regulatory actions are needed. Turning our attention to the Category 3 CANDU safety issues. First, we would note that the industry has made significant progress in implementing the risk control measures for the CANDU safety issues, thereby enhancing the safety of the reactors. The remaining 4 Category 3 CANDU safety issues are related to IH6, the need for systematic assessment of high-energy line break effects, AA9, analysis for void reactivity coefficient, PF9, fuel behavior and high-temperature transients, and PF10, fuel behavior and power pulse transients. The latter 3 are addressed as part of the consideration of large locus safety margins. The regulatory positions and path forwards for addressing these Category 3 issues are well established. Further experimental work and analysis are required to confirm the acceptance criteria and analysis methodologies proposed for use in licensing applications. Through the process, in addition to the comments on specific CANDU safety issues, interveners provided questions of a more generic nature. Items included progress in addressing CANDU safety issues, the basis for the initial categorization and recategorization of CANDU safety issues, details on the risk-informed decision-making process, containment testing, and safety report updates. Further detailed information on these items is provided in the appendices to this presentation. I will now turn the presentation over to Mr. Frappier.
Thank you. Safety analysis and design. In conclusion, safety analysis and design have always been conservative, and all reactor types have ongoing research activities. Periodically, it is useful to review the information from research and operating experience. We have consolidated the safety issues in the IEA Tech Doc on generic safety issues for nuclear power plants with pressurized heavy water reactors, with the CNSC's generic action items that include findings from ongoing nuclear safety research and experienced feedback from the regulatory oversight of currently operating reactors in Canada and worldwide. Licensees must undertake focused actions on issues where further experiments and/or analyses are required to improve knowledge and understanding of the issue and to reconfirm the adequacy of safety margins. But to be clear, the safety case for facilities remains valid and adequate provisions for safety are in place at Canadian nuclear power plants. There were 3 interventions on this CMD. Overall, the interveners questioned the basis for the initial categorization and recategorization of some of the CANDU safety issues. The CNSC staff emphasized that rigorous processes for the initial categorization and subsequent recategorizations were followed at all times and were used for the initial categorization of CANDU safety issues and for any follow-on recategorization. The basis for the initial categorization was documented in the CNSC report, Development of Regulatory Position on CANDU Safety Issues, Categorization of Safety Issues, which was published in 2007 and confirmed in CMD 16M34 and 17M12. The CNSC staff applied their in-depth science and engineering expertise in the assessment of licensees' submissions. Independent technical panels in key areas were also established to support assessment. CMD 17M12 demonstrates that recategorization was done in a systematic way based on technical reviews. In no case was recategorization done only as, quote, a paper exercise. There was always either an improvement to licensees' programs, an improvement to physical design, or increased knowledge through research to support the recategorization. It is important to note that following this assessment and consideration of interveners' comments, there were no new issues or items that required immediate attention by the licensees. To our conclusion is that the basis of recategorization for the CSIs remains valid. Ensuring safety and looking for safety improvement of opportunities is a never-ending task and requires ongoing research and attention to operating experience. Going forward, we will continue to identify and establish the path forward for any safety concerns through the periodic safety review process, carried out in accordance with CNSC's Reg Doc 2.3.3 periodic safety reviews, and of course, our ongoing compliance program, which occurs every day in the plants throughout the country. All safety issues, including CSIs, are tracked under the CNSC's Regulatory Information Bank. Any research subject that is related to a safety issue or has any safety significance concerns are also tracked and reported on through the regulatory oversight reports. Staff updates the Commission on an annual basis on these matters through our NPP regulatory oversight report. So now comes the interesting part. CNSC staff is ready to go through the details of the appendices, if that's the Commission's desire, and or answer any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.